The Supreme Court is incredibly powerful. Without weapons or budgets to control, these 9 individuals have been able to change the course of history, affecting the lives of millions of people for better or for worse. Which have larger courts, only 5 justices in America can overturn a law that's wanted by hundreds of millions of people. They look sacred in their black robes, but they have the same foibles as all of us. I'm Bob G. I'm the History Doctor, and I'd like to share 3 examples of powerful justices in the history of the Supreme Court. Justice Stephen Field was appointed in 1863 by Abraham Lincoln, and he ruled a case in the 1880s that almost got him murdered. One Sarah Hill was suing California silver magnate William Sharon for divorce and alimony. Unfortunately for Hill and her new husband David Terry, Justice Field, riding circuit in California as was custom at the time, ruled that the marriage contract was a forgery. Field denied Hill's alimony and her half of the fortune, and then from the bench proceeded to issue a stern denunciation of Hill's morals. So this incensed her husband David Terry, who threatened revenge on Justice Stephen Field. It is interesting to note that 20 years prior to this, David Terry was Chief Justice of California's Supreme Court. Terry resigned in order to duel another man, and Terry did shoot that man. The U.S. Attorney General assigned a bodyguard to travel with Justice Field. Why? There was no Secret Service at the time, and he wasn't president. He was just a Supreme Court justice. And though no federal law authorized bodyguards for judges or anyone else, the court was a national institution that needed protection. So almost a year later, Field was threatened by Terry in a California train station, and his assigned bodyguard, Marshal David Nagel, shot Terry dead. California charged Nagel with murder, and a tug-of-war between the feds and the state of California followed. The Supreme Court ruled that the protection of judges, even though no act of Congress specifically authorized it, was implied by the Constitution. Protecting justices was ruled as a crucial operation of government under Article 2. In my second example, the court decided not only to let, but to approvingly encourage forced sterilizations of those that the state deemed were mentally impaired. This decision, the 1927 Buck versus Bell case, was written by the esteemed jurist Oliver Wendell Holmes. A Civil War hero who is considered a great legal mind, he wrote approvingly about eugenics. The short decision contains the now infamous line in Supreme Court history, "3 generations of imbeciles are enough." For the third example, Justice William O. Douglas was appointed by Franklin Roosevelt in 1939. And by 1970, Douglas had accumulated severe financial problems and debts from 3 divorces. Douglas then began to supplement his income with paid speeches, articles, and political activities. The Republican leader of the House, Gerald Ford, future president, was personally disgusted with Douglas' lifestyle and politicking for profit. And remember, this is the same Ford who pardoned Richard Nixon, but he wasn't quite as forgiving with Douglas. Ford moved the House to impeach Douglas. And in the Judiciary Committee of the House, Ford, as the only witness, attacked the liberal opinions of Douglas. The hearings collapsed and no vote was ever taken, but Douglas' fate was a little different. Douglas began to descend into the fog of dementia. He became paranoid, imagining that FBI agents were snooping around his bushes, attempting to plant marijuana to frame him. He had a debilitating stroke in 1974, but insisted on remaining on the court. With lifetime tenure, no one was able to stop him. His colleagues on the court made a secret pact that Douglas's opinions would not be included in any ruling or case where his vote would prove decisive. Douglas' formal retirement letter came in 1975. when John Paul Stevens, his replacement, was seated. However, after John Paul Stevens was seated, Douglas returned to the court seeking senior status and was outraged that his clerks had been reassigned to Stevens. Douglas kept trying to force his way into the court's docket, and no one wanted to be the one to stop him. Finally, his colleagues formally banned him. They threw him out. In the end, his former nemesis, Gerald Ford, now president, held a ceremony thanking Douglas for his lengthy service to the nation. We don't see the day-to-day lives of the justices, but the court dramatically impacts the day-to-day lives of Americans. The court is a microcosm of humanity. It combines the large sweep of history and the foibles of all human beings.